Welcome to our Indian adventures. We are headed to the 11th annual Indian Motorcycle Jack Daniels Ride in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Up not so bright and early, we hit the road to meet up with friends from IMRG 1946 North Coast, Cleveland. Next destination, Indian of Northern Kentucky. After a little socializing and of course grabbing a dealer's shirt, we are back on the road, now joined by the two of the hosts from Throttle and Iron podcast and their wives. Starting to get low on gas and close to lunchtime is a perfect time for a mandatory stop at Buc-ee's. Full stomachs and full tanks, time to hammer down to Chattanooga. Once checked in, we enjoyed dinner and catching up with old friends before another early morning start to Finley Stadium for breakfast, provided by Indian, and plenty of time for socializing and checking out all of the beautiful bikes. Kickstands up at 9:30 and headed down to the Distillery in Lynchburg for another great barbecue lunch provided by Indian, and exploring the town of Lynchburg. Getting over 350 bikes out of town is no easy task, but the police had intersections blocked off and it was a smooth, straight shot out of town and over Lookout Mountain. Once we got to the distillery, Jack Daniels and Indian had a nice tent set up for lunch. That included some new sauces as well as a display of several of the past Indian Jack Daniels bites. Okay, I'm hungry, let's eat. Another great event. Now time for the scenic ride back to Chattanooga. The one thing that Tennessee doesn't lack is nice curvy roads around and over the mountain. Can't wait for another Jack Daniels ride next year. Thank you for watching.